Today I'm gonna do a react video to some DIY grooming. This is just at-home grooming from people who are not professionals doing their own haircuts. So we'll see how it turns out. Let me just preface this by saying I am a groomer and I have been a groomer for very close to 15 years. I'm months shy of that. So you can keep your dogs healthy and happy at home. And I think that's a really, really great thing. So today I'm reacting to a video by Wonder Forest and it is called How to Groom Your Dog at Home, Maltese Grooming. I wouldn't say that it's strictly for Malteses.
Hey guys, I am here with my little puppy Bear, and we hello, and we are going to show you how we make him so beautiful.
So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna grab some shampoo.
Okay. Pause. Already. Okay, so that is Heart's shampoo, and you can buy Heart's shampoo at a pet store. It looks like she bought it at maybe like a Dollarama. It's got like a little Dollarama sticker on it. Not my favorite. I would avoid that if you can. Just go get Tropiclean is a nice brand that's pretty readily available. I've used it in salons, but not my favorite to use personally in a salon, but very accessible, easy to get. I would definitely recommend that over Heart's brand. I believe that's Heart's brand. Looks like it. I would venture to guess it's probably highly fragrant, so you're gonna have to be very careful around the eyes. I would invest, if it's possible, in a like a facial shampoo. If not, just get an all-around tear-free shampoo that you can use readily all over the body. Just a suggestion.
And we're gonna give Bear a bath. You want to make sure that your dog is completely clean before clipping their hair. I'm actually using a
That's not entirely true. Good point, but your dog does not have to be entirely clean before clipping them. Preferable, 100%. It is so much more my preference to take a dog that's coming to the salon, plop it in the tub, and away I go. That is what I would prefer to do all day, every day. That would be great. But let's talk about certain scenarios where you might want to pre-clip the dog. So the dog is matted. You are not gonna get that dog's skin clean if it has matting on it. You're gonna wanna take those off. You do not leave the matting on before bathing it. You wanna take them off and then get in and shampoo the skin so that everything is nice and clean. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with dirty skin after you end up clipping off the matting in the end. Depending on the length of style, as well as the length you've gone between grooming, it is completely acceptable and much better, in my opinion, to pre-clip the dog, get off that excess hair. That way you're not using too much shampoo, and you're gonna save yourself time, blow drying, shaving. It's just gonna be so much easier if you just kind of go in very quickly, go over the dog and take off as much hair as possible. You don't have to make it perfect. It does not have to be perfect. It's a pre-clip. Pre-clip just is that. Just as quick as you can, get off as much hair as you can, and then get them in the bathtub.
shower attachment here that hooks onto the tap of the bathtub, and it's got a little hose, and I think I got this at the dollar store.
I got one of those from Amazon. It did not work.
Now I'm just checking the water. I want to make sure that it's lukewarm.
Hers looks great. Hers looks way better.
I'm gonna grab him and plop him in the bathtub. He likes to just stand on the ledge, and I get him nice and wet.
Very
and make
good
sure
boy.
that the water covers all of his fur. He has really thick fur. So it's important to make sure that everything gets soaking wet.
Okay.
And then you just go.
Let's talk about that shampoo. So, I mean, it's not uncommon. You see this happen all the time. Like, even for people, they just like, I'm going to shampoo my hair. No. What you are going to do is you're going to take that shampoo and you are going to put some in your hand. And then you're going to rub your hands together and spread it around, lather it up. And then you're gonna just pat different areas of that dog, their leg, their back, their butt, their tail, their belly. You're gonna just pat them all over. Then you can go in and massage it in. But once you glob along the back like she did there, what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up with all the shampoo there and it's not gonna easily spread to other areas of the body. which in turn, she's probably gonna end up using more shampoo, which is just costly. I mean, if you're trying to save money, you might as well save money all around. You're not gonna get as much shampoo down below, like on the belly, and especially that's where it's gonna be dirtiest, right? Think of where dogs get dirty. Usually their belly, their legs, their butt, that's gonna be their dirty areas. Your back, it'll be dirty, but it's not gonna be that dirty. Not enough to have all the shampoo. So please, yeah, just spread it around. Don't just glob it in one spot.
When you're done, make sure you rinse it out really well. And I like to just kind of
True,
squeegee out
please,
his
yes,
arms
rinse
and
well.
his legs, or wherever the most water collects. And then I can lift him out and wrap him up.
Yes,
in a towel.
please towel dry. You're gonna save
And then
yourself a
we're just
lot
going
of
to
time.
dry him off
Microfiber,
really quickly
if
with
you
a
have one,
towel.
it's gonna work well.
And then his next not so favorite part is the blow dry session.
No one's favorite.
So I just grab my normal hair dryer and I have it on the...
Yeah, you can use any hair dryer. It does not have to be a dog one. They're more efficient, let me tell you that much, but you can use your own hair dryer. Please make sure that it stays on a cool setting. Do not, you can use some heat, but I would not suggest, especially, like I have a Shark one, and the heat on that, even on the low setting, is still pretty hot. So yeah, do not burn your dog. It makes you more comfortable and you're not monitoring too well, you think. Don't use any heat at all. If you do use heat, please use low heat. Do not cause your dog any injury.
And you're just gonna blow dry the whole thing.
Okay, well, your dog
this
does
is
not
his
look
little
dry.
routine
I hate
after
to say
he gets
that.
a bath.
It's pretty
He likes to
damp
finish
looking, especially
drying
on the
his face off on the carpet.
Yeah.
And these are the tools that I'm going to be using. First, we have a brush. This is actually the only brush that he will let me brush it.
I'm gonna stop you there. No, that is not a dog brush. That is not a good brush, and I hate to say that, but it's true. That is, I think, a people brush, and that's for hair that's long, like mine. That's not gonna do much. I would not suggest using a brush like that. You're gonna want a slicker brush. They make different kinds. There's different styles. Some are harder, some are softer, bigger, smaller. The pins are longer or shorter. You can get literally any kind of brush. You want a slicker brush though. That is what you want. Your dog may not like it, but that may be just their experience with that particular brush. Maybe you need to go with one that's softer or that has shorter pins, or you know, there's so many different kinds. But you need to be using a slicker brush. That's like a non-negotiable. Please have a slicker brush. Do not use that kind of brush. It's just not meant for dogs. It's not going to work well. You might as well be rubbing your dog with your hand at that point.
Then I'm going to be using the Andis ACG dog clippers. This actually has
Perfect.
a different blade on it. I purchased the blade separately.
Yes, it does. Okay. The blade that comes with all clippers, professional or otherwise, is going to be one of two things. You're either going to get a 10 blade, which is most common, or a 40 blade, which is uncommon, but it's still sometimes, I've noticed some of the lower quality brands, that's what they come with. And do not use a 40 blade, ever, ever, ever. 10 is gonna be short, short, short. I would recommend that for different areas of the body. We'll talk about that as we go along. But never use a 40, because that is surgical length, essentially. So yeah, she got a different, longer clipper blade there. Yeah, that is not the one that comes with it.
The blade is a 4FC, which is a 9.5 millimeter. It actually comes with a number 10 blade, which I just found way too short. I kind of like his hair a little bit longer. It leaves it about just under an inch long. And then we're going to use some thinning sheet.
Oh, no. No. It does not leave it under an inch long. A 4FC is about 3/8 of an inch long. A 3FC, which is one size longer, is about a 1/2 inch long. You can get some that are longer now, but for the most part, we'll just round it out and say a 3 is the longest clipper blade that you can get, and that's about a 1/2 inch. You can get attachments, like attachment combs that go over, usually like a 30 blade, and that can give you up to an inch long or less, or sometimes more, again, depending. But yeah, you're not gonna get an inch haircut with a blade. Period. End point. Stop there. That is a 3/8 of an inch haircut right there.
Shears that you see at the top,
Perfect.
and then
Two
I'm just
things
using
you really
the
need.
scissors that come with the kit. And I will leave links for all of these below in
got
the
a
description
kit.
box in case you guys want to check it out.
Good-
I'm also using
good
a
plan.
large tooth comb because again, this is the only comb that he will actually
No,
let
no,
me
no,
comb
no.
it with. So
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it.
So when she says it is the only comb he lets me comb him with, what that says to me is your dog may have tangles, because the smaller comb you get, like I have a very fine tooth comb that I comb dogs with, and that to me tells me is your dog matted. Period. If I can get that comb through, your dog is not matted. If I can get my longer comb through, that's great, but it needs to go through with a fine tooth. It needs to be completely tangle free. That's where the slicker comes in handy. You're going to go in with your slicker to try and get all those tangles out, and then go in with your fine tooth comb to check your work. You do not pull out the tangles with the fine tooth comb. It's simply for checking. If you can't get it through, your dog still has tangles. If your dog's tangled enough and they don't like it, just go in with a shorter blade, cut them shorter, clip them down shorter, just make them happy. You don't have to demat dogs, you really don't. Now, you should brush them. They should be used to being brushed with a slicker brush. With a slicker brush. And they should tolerate being combed because you're not pulling through with them. You're gonna go back in with the slicker brush until it's, broken down enough that you can glide them out with the comb. Yeah.
Yikes!
All right, let's keep going.
here we go. So I start by just brushing through his hair.
Perfect.
You want to make sure also before you start clipping him that he is entirely dry.
It looks pretty
I'm
damn.
just grabbing the clippers now, and you want to make sure that you go with the hair, never against the hair. You always want to go in the direction the hair grows.
You can go against the hair. You can. It's just gonna leave it shorter. There's really you just have to be careful about obviously not catching skin in certain areas, but there's no reason why you can't go reverse. It's just gonna leave it shorter.
So I just do this all over his body, and I leave his head. I do not do this on his head. And I very sparingly do it on his legs. I do not do it on his tail. So here I am just doing his body.
Okay. You can do it on his head. There's no reason, again, that you cannot do it on his head. You can buy a longer blade if you do not want it that short, but you're gonna get a more even haircut if you do it on the head. I'm not sure what she's gonna do on the head, but I would recommend using some sort of clipper just to really get it nice and even. And then she really lost me with the whole sparingly on the legs. What are you doing on the legs? Are you... I mean, if you're not going to clipper the legs entirely, which you can do, I would suggest scissoring into a nice round kind of pillar-like shape. You don't want to introduce clippers a bit and then scissor, because you're going to get different lengths unless you're doing the whole leg in a scissor clip or your whole leg with a blade. That would be what I would recommend. I would not recommend partially clipping down the hair on the leg. This just doesn't make any sense.
He just likes to sit there. It's better if they can stand, but I mean, he's just a lazy boy and he just likes to sit while I do this.
A lot of them do, yeah.
That works for me as well. I've learned to work around him.
It's not uncommon. Okay, what are we gonna go back
You want
on
to make
the
sure to
leg?
get his belly underneath as well. You
I'd
can
like to see
actually
more of
just
this
fold
leg.
your dog
Is that
up
all
a
she's
little
gonna
bit
do?
and get those pieces under there.
Okay, we moved on
Then
to
we
the
start
face.
on the head after we're done all of the clipping. I
We
actually
didn't do
just
the
use
legs.
scissors for this part.
What about their legs?
What I'm doing here is just brushing forward the fur over his eyes and then making like a straight cut all the way across with the scissors and then just cleaning that up a little bit.
Okay. She is going in with scissors around the eyes. So she is trimming the hair from between the eyes with scissors. Please don't do that. Please. Scissors are sharp. Use your clippers. She can use her 10 blade. 10 blade would be perfect for this because 4 blade's not going to do anything. But a 10 blade, you can just tap the corner of the eye. You can go in this way where you're going towards the eye to tap away the hair, and then come down from the corner of the eye and out towards the nose. Don't go all the way across the nose, but just in the corner of the eye, right in here. So you can tap that hair away. It's going to be safer. Please don't scissor your dog's eyes. It's just a very dangerous area. Please, please, please be extra careful with your dog's eyes.
And I just kind of make sure all those hairs around his eyes are not sticking into his eyes. And then I take the thinning shears and the comb, and I lift up the hair with the comb, and I use those thinning shears just to trim it off.
See, this is what I'm saying though. Now she is lifting the hair with the comb and doing like a scissor over comb on the top of his head, which is not technically wrong, but she's just wasting time really. Because by the looks of it, it's not much longer than his body length. So even if she invested the $40 for the blade for a 3F, I would do that on top of his head instead of trying to scissor the entire thing. It's just going to be more even. It's going to be faster. You're wasting time mostly.
Now I'm going to do what I like to call his mustache. You don't want to go too short. You can always take off more if you need to, but if you go too short, then you're kind of screwed. Yes. So start with a little bit, and you can always just take off more if you need to.
That's great advice.
So right now I am just combing them out straight. You want to be really careful when handling their ears or brushing their ears because it's really thin skin.
It is, yeah.
And then I trimmed off.
See, she's going up in that area.
Inch,
I would not do
just
that.
Straight across. And I think his ears were a little damp when I did this. That's why they're kind of flipping out a little bit. The hair is kind of flipping out a little bit. So normally I would like this to kind of curl under a little bit, but what can you do? Then I move on to his legs and his feet. So I'm just trimming the hair around his feet to make it all nice and more circular looking. And
let me pause here. So what you want to do is, I know she has that 10 blade, so I would stick that on her clipper, and I would get the bottom of his foot, the pad, so you can actually hold it in the way that's comfortable for a dog. I know it's uncomfortable for a human, but this way, so that the dog's arm is in a nice resting position, and then you can shave out those pads. It's unbelievable how many dogs come and they have matting between their pads, and think of how much that hurts because they walk on them. So it prevents matting, A, and B, it gives you a nice clean blank canvas on the bottom. So you've got your foot still in this position, you've shaved the pad, you can see it's nice and clean in there now. And now when it's in that position, you can trim all the way around the foot. So what this does is it's going to take off this hair that's right around the edge here. Now, when you put the foot back down, you're still going to have to trim the top area of the foot, but most of the bulk of your work is going to be done. It's just a really inefficient way to do a foot by holding it straight out and trimming it this way to start.
Not all floppy, if that makes sense. So I just trim that all with scissors and trim off all of the longer pieces.
A comb would come in handy.
And I grab his foot and I actually
each way.
trim the hair around his pads. You can see here.
Oh, no.
So
do not use scissors, please. Again, like the eyes, that's a bad spot. The scissors on the feet, also bad spot. It is so easy to cut a pad because you will be cutting, and then the pad, if I can, will actually rise up and you can clip like right on the top of it. I've seen it done. It happens. So what should you do? As I said, please use the 10 blade. You got it it came with your clippers. You can just put it back on. There's probably in a drawer somewhere. Just pull it on out and use it to actually remove that hair. You can just skim the top, and A, it's gonna be done in 2 seconds if you skim over it. And B, it's just going to prevent any injury to the paw pads. It is just so easy to cut a paw pad. So please do not use that method. Please use a clipper.
I just carefully snip off all of the fur in between his toes and around his pads.
Oh God, it just makes me nervous. Oh, okay.
Now onto the tail. I brush this out really well, and then all I do is feel for the end of the tail, and I trim off about an inch away from the tail.
Oh,
I just
no.
take a big chunk off.
Oh no. Okay. When you're doing a tail at home, when you take the tail and you pull all the hair to the end and then clip, 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 what you're going to do is you're going to have these long hairs that come at the base of the tail by the bum that pull all the way this way, and then they're cut here. But the hair that's on the end of the tail is only going to be like a small length. So what's going to happen when the tail is in a natural position and it's wagging is what you're going to see is it's going to be like a V shape. It's going to come straight out like the tail part, and the hair is going to go down on an angle and then up to the bum. So you're going to have like a flag tail. What you want to do to trim a tail properly is instead of brushing it all forward, you're going to grab the end of the tail. So you're going to hold it out. So if this is their bum, you're holding it straight out on the other side. And you're going to take your comb. No, the dog hates comb, but you got to take the comb. And you're going to comb it down. So on each side, you've got all the hairs laying down nice and flat. And then you're going to scissor straight across the bottom. You're gonna get a much better clip if you clip it this way as opposed to straight out and across. It's like a broom. Don't do that, please. Do not give your dog a broom tail. It's gonna be a triangle.
And then you can take a look at how he appears.
I'd like to see
and
the
if
legs.
you're happy with it, you can always use your scissors and go back and trim. You can see his ears here. I'm not too happy with them. They look kind of funny right now. But they even out the next day when everything kind of falls back into place properly. There is his cute little face.
I mean, once
He's
it gets
no
a little
longer a
curlier, it'll
big
be more
fluff ball.
forgiving, that's for sure.
Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
All in all, it's not a bad haircut. It is not one that when walking down the street, you're gonna look at and be like, oh my God, did that dog get in a fight with a lawnmower?
No!
At least that's what it looked like from here. But what my suggestions would be, my final thoughts is, please don't use scissors around your dog's eyes. Please don't use scissors on your dog's feet. Use clippers for those areas, especially the one that comes with it, nice short blade. And then also, no triangle tails, you could do better than that. You know, please, legs, you know, just either clipper them or don't. Pick one or the other, don't go some weird in between. You don't need to do both. You can, you know, give it a nice scissor trim, or you can make it the same length, or she could invest in a blade that's just one size longer for the head, for the legs kind of thing. It'll help give it more of an even appearance. Or some clip combs, that's another option as well. But you do have to be careful with clip combs because if there's any sort of tangles, that can be quite the issue. But that's it. That's all I have for you today. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Thank you for sticking around, watching till the end, and I will see you all in the next video.